Nation Sports Talk is off and rolling. We have been away. Vince and I have, at least for a little while. I know Vince came back at the end of the week. I know, seriously, right? It's
Not
like
wrong.
it's kind of like hitting the fast forward button on the month of July. Get us a little bit closer to the start of training camp.
There
Vince
you
goes
go.
on vacation, so Sean's like, "I'm going on vacation then. I can't
need
do
a
shows. I can't do shows without Vince."
I need a vacation from the vacation. That's what happens when you take a family like mine on the road.
I know. Yeah, we haven't even gotten into that. We'll have to touch on that in a little bit. But the boss is here. We've got big news to share. We've been teasing this big announcement forever, it seems like, and we are finally at the point. We're kind of coming up against a bit of a deadline, so it's like we've got to get it out there at some point. So today is the day. I wonder who's the most excited about this whole thing. I think it could be Vince.
That might be, I don't know why, but I'm like super fired up for it, man.
Yeah.
I do like change, contrary to my old man beliefs. I am a fan of change, and this is going to be a fun change. That is not the announcement, Father David. You are speaking in blasphemous terms.
Man.
Jeez, why does that have to be the announcement, people? Man.
It's not that. Y'all are going in a completely different direction than we're going.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I feel like Vince may have been surgically altered at some point.
I have not.
Well, you didn't do that? I was thinking you did. But
no.
Well, this show's going off the rails real quick. Thanks, Father David. I really appreciate that.
Reel it back in.
Oh, Jim, he's there.
Even Jim on Sports is here. All right, our old buddy, Jim. Jim, if you want to come in the show, let me know. I can send you.
It's fired up.
So, Sean,
real quick. Yes.
Let's get to it, man.
You want to do it? All right. Brian's getting a little impatient. Maybe
I got to go make dinner, brother.
Priorities.
Okay. So I'll kind of lay it out, and then I'll let Brian and Vince kind of jump in because, I did want to kind of, lay a little of the backtracks on this. I'll lay the background as we, kind of jump into this, and we'll just get it on, baby. So as regulars of this show know, my background is in radio. I started in radio 30 plus years ago at this point. And I still obviously, do some radio play-by-play for Notre Dame women's basketball over on WSBT, Midwest Family Broadcasting here in town. And before I came to Irish Breakdown, I worked full-time in radio, hosting a show called Weekday Sports Beat on WSBT right here in town, the flagship station for Notre Dame football, men's and women's basketball, and hockey. So a few weeks ago, my good friend, Jim Irizarry from WSBT, Jim on Sports, gives me a call, and he tells me that they've made some changes, and they've got some more changes in mind at the radio station. And he asked me if I'd be interested in coming back to WSBT to host Sports Beat again. And I was extremely flattered by, the idea that he would give me a call. But, there was some apprehension, I think, there because, they wanted me to host the show by myself, which is something that I did before I came here. No producers, just me cranking out the old content 5 days a week. And that was kind of like, like we sat down, we talked about some stuff, and I was like, I'm not real sure about that, because like I've said before, this show, the one that we're doing here, IB Nation Sports Talk, the one we've done for the last 3 years, is the closest thing to the vision of the show that I had more than 20 years ago when Vince and I were doing a show on the old ESPN radio affiliate across town that's no longer around. But so I talked to Brian, I talked to Jim, and his boss.
Little did Sean know that Jim and I had actually had a conversation about this during the season.
Yeah.
So,
like another little
Gotcha.
link in there somewhere along the way. This had apparently come up at some point, like during last football season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So rather than reinventing the wheel, I kind of pitched them a little bit of a compromise. It's like, I love IB Nation Sports Talk. I love doing the show with Vince and Jesse. I love, working for Bryan over here at Irish Breakdown as much as I love radio, and that is my background. So the compromise was what if we take this show to the radio rather than me doing one thing and then it's like, what am I going to do every day? Talk to myself and that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to do. 1 week from today, Monday, July 21st, IB Nation Sports Talk is joining forces with WSBT Radio here in South Bend, 960 AM in South Bend, 106.1 FM in Southern Michigan, and we are going to become weekday sports beat. So the best part is nothing's really going to change from the Irish Breakdown perspective. There'll be like some little tweaks, but really the show's still going to be the show.
Will be a lot different.
Yeah,
but
I guess that's true.
It's still going to be what we've been doing, and Sean is still going to be part of the IB family, which is a big thing for me.
Exactly, and we'll still be doing the show live on this YouTube channel.
Correct.
And if you and if you're an Irish Breakdown podcast listener, whether it's Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcast, you will still get this show through the Irish Breakdown podcast channel as well. So we're going to be live on the YouTube channel. The biggest difference, like Vince you'll still see Vince where he usually sits. You'll still see Jesse where he still, usually sits. But I will be sitting in the WSBT studios every day doing the show from there on Weekday Sports Beat on WSBT Radio. And I'll kind of let Bryan take it from there.
Some questions that we're seeing in the chat. The chat will still be there. So a week from today, you all will still be coming to Irish Breakdown's YouTube channel, looking for the live show link. One thing that we'll do differently, the show will be called something different. So right now it's IB Nation Sports Talk. It'll turn into IB Nation Sports Beat because that'll be the name of it. Obviously, Jesse and Vince will still be part of the show. Once we get to the season, I'll also be joining every Tuesday or Wednesday. Sean, I think we're still working the particular details for a segment to talk recruiting. And, Sean will have me on at other times if there's a topic that he thinks is interesting enough to allow me to burden you all with me again. But it's the same thing. It's still Irish Breakdown. From a YouTube and a podcast standpoint, it's still Irish Breakdown. But what we're doing, and the reason this is awesome for us, and the reason I'm glad. So here's basically where it comes from my point of view is I talked to Jim this this fall because two things is I know that Jim had, they were thinking about maybe, what if there's some changes. And I also knew that Sean his heart was in radio. And as someone who has always valued, you do right by your people, not by, forcing a situation where they're forced to stay with you, but you help them find their passions. And I know Sean loves doing radio. So I said, hey, look, man, I don't want to lose Sean, but if it ever gets to the point where you're looking for somebody and you want to reach out to him, you have my blessing, just talk to me about it, And so he reached out to Sean first just to see if Sean was interested or not. Sean was. And so then Jim called me right afterwards. Hey, I just want to let you know this is kind of what happened. What I'm excited about is the idea to combine this. I was just kind of prepared to lose Sean because, I said, I'll never stand in somebody's way of doing things they love. And Vince, how many times you and I talked about how Sean's a radio guy? So that's where his heart is. That's where his passion is. That's what he loves to do. And so it was Sean's idea to pitch the notion of let's combine this. Let's make this a thing where we're kind of partnering. And Jim was on board with it. I was on board with it. And so what I'm excited is actually, it's going to be the same amount of content. Mm-hmm. It's going to still be Notre Dame football related. It's still going to have the rapid fire you brought with you from what you used to do. So that's not going away. It's still going to be Jesse. It's still going to be Vince. It used to be where you either had to call to go in or Vince would have to go into the studio. But now, because we're still streaming with Irish Breakdown, then, we still get to kind of have this presence. So Vince can do it. And they've connected it, Sean. So if I'm correct, so Vince will be at home doing the show and it's going to go through and sound great and do all the audio is going to be awesome. So I'm excited about it. And then of course, Irish Breakdown will be a frequent part of the show because Sean's part of Irish Breakdown. I'm part of Irish Breakdown. Vince and Jesse are part of Irish Breakdown. So now if you're a local and you're driving around and you want to listen to the radio, you're listening to this show.
which is
and
awesome.
So all it's done for us is expand our reach. It's not taking away from anything that we're doing. If anything, it's growing what we're. If you're a podcast listener, if you're a YouTube person, you can still see us here.
Yep.
Right.
If you're someone who's a local, especially Sean, because we were talking about this. It's a very unique phenomenon. We have way more non-local members of our community than we do locals.
Yep.
We certainly have some locals on here, no question about it, but a lot more people from outside. We wanted to expand our local reach. And this does that because Sean's great on radio. I mean, that's how Sean, I mean, you and I have known each other before you were doing radio, but that's when you and I really connected because you'd have me on your show. And I loved doing shows with you, which is why I was like, hey, Sean, how about you come work for me?
Right.
You know, and then it worked out great. Well, now he gets to do both because like Sean said, is like his pull was, I love working for you guys and I love this show, but I also want to do this. And I was like, hey man, let's do it. So I think it's great. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be part of the local radio station. I'm excited to be doing it with Sean, you know, because obviously that's a big part of the fun because we used to do it together. I mean, Vince, there were times where the three of us would be on a show together and we're in 3 different locations and I can't hear you, I can't see. I'm hoping my mic doesn't or my phone doesn't drop out. Yeah. Now we get to do it like this, the way we've been doing it. So I'm excited about it. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
And it was important, you know, one of the things that I love about this show that quite honestly, I was a little hesitant about when I came over was the live video aspect of doing this because I had never, you know, I'm a radio guy.
We all have a face for radio.
Some would say we have faces for radio. But I had never done the video thing before. And that's, you know, so that concerned me having like the live, you know, like the
interaction.
But that's the live interaction. That's one of the, you know, I wasn't sure about that. But honestly, I feel like it's going to be great for the radio show because we will, you know, like we're obviously going to continue to encourage people to watch on the YouTube channel. That's why the YouTube channel is there. And it also gives us both a local presence on the radio and WSBT, as well as a national reach. And that was one of the things that was attractive to the radio station as well, because everyone's doing video these days. And so I think it's going to be the best of both worlds, and it's going to be pretty awesome. And speaking of faces for radio,
yes,
I mentioned
4 for 4, 4 for 4, 4 faces for radio.
That's right.
Look at these 4 fat faces just filling each cube. Oh my God.
But to your point, Sean, is I do think this format also creates for better engagement also, because I can see you, I can see your body language, I can see when you're kind of getting ready, setting me up for a question. And I just feel like it makes for such a better flow than like me being on the phone with you or Vince being on the phone with you, or if you want to bring a guest on, you can have them do it through the video as well. If it, you know, and other times maybe doing photos. I just think it's going to be a blast. And like, I just love the aspect of Irish Breakdown having a further reach with the community. And it's something that's always been important to me. I mean, like Vince and I talk about this. I love it when we're out and about and somebody comes up to us and they're like, hey, you know, Bryan or Vince. And it's just, I think it's awesome. And I wish we could have more of that. Not that I want the more attention, but I want more people in this community to like know what we're doing. Cause I think what we do is different and unique. And I've always got along. I mean, Jim and I have never worked together. We've just known each other through being at Notre Dame games. And I get along really well with him and almost purposely ran him over at the Blue Gold game this year. He was looking down on his phone, and I like went right and slammed him. He's like, "Oh my God!" So I'm teaching us to be looking down on your phone when you're walking in the middle of the street. But you know, Jim's my guy. Love Jim, and honestly, like for me, it's awesome. Selfishly, because I get to know that somebody I care about is going to be back to doing something he loves and is passionate about. But I don't have to lose him for him to do that. And I think that's what's exciting.
Win-win.
And again, you're going to be part of the show once a week as well. We're going to have Bryan on to talk recruiting, you know, every week. So
being lovely and talented as he is.
That's right.
So Jim,
I like Jim's mood lighting.
I know, right?
Anyway.
He's got a studio all of his own there, but
I didn't do Twitch. I thought we were doing YouTube, and you know,
right.
So Jim is representing the radio station essentially, and Jim
will be my new Bryan at the radio station.
Yes. So Jim,
who might be wondering,
right?
Why in the world are you bringing Sean back? What are you doing?
Because he rocks.
I mean, there's that, and also it kind of goes to something that you guys touched on a little bit. It's kind of the way things are going. especially in radio. There seems to be more of a video component to radio, which is, when you think about it, weird. But I was just like, I didn't like losing Sean in the first place. I didn't really have much of a say in that.
It's true.
Zero say in that. And now that I was actually able to say something to somebody who was actually going to listen, I was like, hey, can we go back to doing things this way and then maybe, actually kind of make it better? And that's what we get to do now. And I'm psyched. I'm like the last couple of months for me have just been awesome from this station standpoint. But this is just awesome. I loved working with Sean. Heck, I enjoyed working with Vince. I'm not going to say I loved it. But
it's always getting kicked on the
feels like most people.
Yeah,
like most people.
You know
say
what?
that.
Of the three of you, I've known Vince the longest, actually. So
it's true.
That would explain a lot. That would explain a lot.
Vince is
one of Vince's
kind of
800 jobs that he's had in the last 10 years was with Jim before the radio.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
It's really Vince's fault.
I pushed him towards the radio station. I was like, Jim, you need to go, do this, do that.
So
and
ultimately, to circle all the way back around, this all is because of Vince.
It's all Vince's fault.
Which for right now we're excited about is good news. But if this flops, we're totally blaming you, Vince.
Vince is banished to midnight to 2 Eastern.
Yeah.
We won a contest.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you who your new co-host is going to be if this all goes bad, Vince. All I'm going to say is I'm not going to say it.
There are some options.
Yeah, I'll text it to you. I'll text it to you.
There are a couple questions that have popped up here regarding the show. Now, Vince hasn't had a chance to say anything yet, but we will get this in. There have been some multiple forms of this that Decaf is asking. Will there be radio commercial breaks, and how long will the show be? So the show now is going to be 5 to 7 p.m. generally most nights. Now, the station does air South Bend Cubs broadcast, so there will be some nights where the show might be a little bit short. There might be some nights, depending on what happens, where we end up, because we've got the YouTube channel, we might not have a broadcast show, but maybe we,
just do
are
this.
Still able to just do this in lieu of that, which is a nice, kind of fallback when that happens.
Options.
Yeah, that's right. We bring options. There will be commercial breaks. The commercials will not air on the YouTube feed, though. We will have kind of a countdown clock that we'll have when the commercial breaks are up, and so it'll count down to when the break is over. So there will be some pauses because it is radio, and we got to as we say in radio, you have to pay the bills. That's right.
We got to keep the lights on. So they're going to be 4 minutes apiece. So it gives you plenty of time to go, go to the bathroom, get a snack, whatever.
Yep. But in general, the show is
new insults against Vince, whatever.
Yeah.
So
the show is going to start at basically the same time, right around 5 o'clock, because there's like some stuff that'll air, on the radio station before the show starts. So it might be a little bit.
The radio is much more time centric,
right?
Which means I've got to show up on time for shows. That's all that means.
Right. But we still, again, we plan to keep things as interactive as possible. There'll still be some mailbags and those kind of things. And
Vince, when you worked at the station, even that kind of floated a little bit, showing up on time. So
I mean,
But Sean, to your point though, that's the one unique thing of doing this with Irish Breakdown can do, is because you can still have a mailbag if you want to. You still can bring up audience interaction without a call-in show where you always can't control what people are going to say or do. Here, you can choose what you want to bring up on the screen or not, which I think is it adds to that element as well. I think it gives WSBT a different type of show also that it can utilize, is because the natural format of doing it this way is going to allow you to do things where you want audience feedback. You can't get immediate audience feedback when you're just doing a radio show.
Yeah.
Now you can do that, and I think that's, and I have some ideas on some other ideas. Well, I'll wait till we're off the end for that.
One of the things that I talked to Jim about, Jim and his boss Dave, who is now like the big boss Dave of mine. I I've got multiple bosses. I just thought about that. I'm going to have a lot of people to serve. But one of the things that I talked about, Vince and I have known each other for more than 20 years now. And like that started with us doing shows together, like the daily show that we were doing at ESPN, the pregame show before Notre Dame football games. And I've obviously known Jesse his entire life, so that's 29 plus years
development
at this point. Yeah. I mean, developed a co-host there, but that's part of what I love about this show is just, like the interaction that we have. And, like back in those early days when Vince and I started doing that, things were a little bit rougher because Vince was like literally learning to go as he goes along.
Was a rookie in every sense of the word.
I won't say it, but it was we've got a lot of chemistry that we built up. I think the three of us over the years. Vince, for those who don't remember, Vince coached Jesse in high school.
So I recruited Jesse.
Yeah, and Bryan recruited Jesse. That's right.
That's right. And I met Jesse when he was 8 years old in a booth at whatever restaurant it was where that competition was taking place. I remember him sitting off to the side, eating his munchies while we're doing the show. And so, I mean, I've known Jesse since he was 8. So that tells you how long it's been since Sean and I have known each other. And that's why this is so exciting is, number one, it gets us back to the root of where Sean and I met is on the radio, doing a radio show. We were doing the pregame show for Notre Dame football. And it also is a great thing that we're not losing Sean from this show, because I was super excited, obviously, 3 years ago when we were able to bring him on and everything we've been able to do with him being here. And as soon as I found out that this was a possibility, I was like, dang it, now we're going to lose Sean and we're going to have to kind of refigure some things. It's like, nope, we're not going to lose Sean at all. And things are going to just keep on going and it's going to be great. So it's really just the best of all the worlds, and that's what gets me the most excited.
And just a reminder, podcast, it'll still go on podcasts.
Yep.
It's still going to be on the video. You guys can still interact. The commercial thing is the one thing we're still working through, specifically how exactly that's going to go. But essentially, we're going to do one of two things early on. One is just kind of mute their mics and people can kind of watch what guys do in between segments. Or two, we may have come up with a video that just plays like maybe the Irish Breakdown theme song. Like, remember when we do for halftime when we did the live shows during halftime, we just would play that one IB video and it just would kind of play on loop until the show came back, something like that. But I think it also kind of creates, it's going to be great. And I'm excited about it. So things will change to a degree for you guys, but I actually think it enhances it. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think it enhances kind of this product on the YouTube platform. It's actually gonna be easy for the podcast. It's because that's the thing that's going to change the least. Yeah. And then of course I think it's going to enhance the radio product. I just really think that it will be. And I'm just trying to look at it from a consumer standpoint, thinking about how would this kind of show go over. And I think the way you guys do it would be a lot more natural transition for them, what we do at one, because it's more long form. I think this is really well formatted for that this type of show, which is where you brought and this is the whole point of me wanting Sean over, is I didn't want Sean to do a 5 p.m. version of what we were already doing.
Right.
It was bring your expertise, your format, your strengths over, and instead of trying to be like me or me trying to be like you be you, do it your way, I'll do it my way. And then that way we're just giving people a lot of different type of content. And I think it's worked out great. Right. And I'm excited that we get to keep doing it.
Also, during the commercial breaks, we'll be able to play the new game, Who's Wearing Pants?
Jim, that's only a question for you, buddy. All right? So you're the only one we're worried about in that regard.
Oh, my.
Oh, boy. I'm not saying my pants always match my uppers, but I'm always wearing pants.
So for Mikkel, and I think that's how we say it, Mikkel, and for everyone else who came in late, he's asking a quick recap. So to recap the big announcement, a week from today, Monday, July 21st, IB Nation Sports Talk will be on WSBT Radio, 960 AM in South Bend, 106.1 FM in Southern Michigan. We will continue to be on the Irish Breakdown YouTube channel. We'll still be doing the show live here on YouTube, and we'll still also be posting the podcast like Bryan was just talking about. The show will still be in podcast platform. Still going to have a main segment talking about Notre Dame football. We're still going to have a rapid fire all that kind of stuff with Notre Dame and other stuff mixed in there as well. So really, again, the only real change that I think, is going to be to the show is just kind of the commercial breaks that you were just talking about and kind of how we work our way through that. There will be, some stop downs in the show, a few more, it'll be segmented a little bit, but I think like for the most part, when you think about how much we start yakking, once we, talk in our main segment, that's basically the first hour of the show, and rapid fire for the most part is the second hour of the show. We'll be on 5 to 7, same time, 5, but we'll go a little bit longer because of those commercial breaks, and we'll hopefully continue to keep you entertained to some extent.
That's right.
I'm getting ready to run. I gotta say, when Jim and I talked about this in the fall, I thought I was like, look, I'm doing the right thing for my buddy Sean if it ever comes. And I know that, and I can say, Sean, that Jim has absolutely, from the moment you came over with me, expressed, I'm not happy about this, and I wish he was still working with me. So I can attest that he actually means that. I know he puts on the gruff bear, but he's really just a big teddy bear. I just think it's awesome that we both now continue to get to do this. And I mean, has there been a home game that's gone by that Vince, you and I at some point in time aren't sitting over there shooting the breeze with Jim?
No,
like we're always BSing. We're like, guys, let's turn the volume down. We're being a little too loud for everyone in our area.
I think it was. I think the only time we didn't get to do that was the playoff game all that long.
It was very crowded.
That was packed.
And Vince and I were outside most of the time.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah. But I
remember the tailgate though. That was a fun stop.
Jim gets what he wants. He gets to work with Sean. I get what I want because I don't have to stop working with Sean. And I think it's going to be better for the audience too. It's going to give you guys something different, and I think it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast
for sure.
Yep. So we're looking forward to it. That's the big announcement, everybody.
That is it.
That's it.
That is it in full.
Real quick, somebody said, "What about women's basketball?" Again, same thing. That stuff is still going to be part of what we're doing. Like, the structure
I'll still be doing that. By the way, women's basketball guest on tomorrow's show.
That's right.
So,
hey,
yeah. Yep.
You couldn't have saved that for Monday.
Now you're just getting selfish, Jim. Now you're just getting selfish. He's already promoted it for tomorrow. It's got to go now. You can't go back on that.
Fine.
There's 4 more scholarship players, I think, Sean. Just like the numbers are a little low.
That's right.
We can get 4 or 5 more scholarship players. So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's right.
So anyway, I'm excited about it. Thanks, Sean. And
all right. Thank you, Brian.
I want to thank Jim
Appreciate
for
it,
doing this the right way. I want to thank Sean for having a desire to still want to stay with Irish Breakdown, even though something that I know he loves to do was their calling. So I think this is going to work out great for everybody. So
because Sean could have very easily been like, you know what, guys, I'm back to radio.
Right. Look, we've been talking about this for well over a month because it took a lot of, okay, can we make this work or not? We weren't even sure we want to make it work, but I can say it was Sean's idea to say, hey, how about we combine the two? And I'm excited about it. And thankful for it. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So,
and honestly,
thanks for having
it
me
was
on,
easier to convince everybody to do that than I thought it was going to be. Oh,
yeah, I know.
Brian's got.
Well, see you, Brian. Does he just pop in like that too? Like he just appears?
He's like a
wizard.
Just it works though.
So
it works.
But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. So it's just one more week too. So
yes.
Plus bonus, y'all get to see the inside of a radio studio now.
I know.
That's right.
And there'll be days where maybe I'll stop into the studio.
If that's a bonus at all.
It is a bonus.
Someone was asking that.
Yeah,
there we go.
We have one of those radio soundboards. We absolutely will.
Yep. So depending on, because the studio is.
You love old Swan Dong, don't you, Jim?
The studio's a good distance away.
On a 27-inch monitor, that's no more than a foot away from my face.
That was in your face then.
It was alarming.
Yeah.
TD4ND is asking, will the audio channel be streamed online? Yeah, there will be live audio through the radio station. Yeah. The app and the radio station. Like literally, they're going to be a million, not literally.
Yeah, there's
going to be a million ways to watch or listen to this show going forward.
Yeah, sports radio, WSBT.com. Just go there. You can download the app. It's free. we've got it in the Apple Store, the Google Store, all that. So that's pretty good too, because that's an app that unlike the previous version, works. So
sorry.
Technology's fun when it works, isn't it?
Look, I'm just stating the truth here, So I'm just like, oh, good, the app's down again. Great. Haven't had to deal with that once in the last 3 months. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, I guess that's it
for this part.
1 week from for that part, for the announcement part of things. 1 week from today, we will officially be on the air on WSBT. And again, YouTube channel stays the same. Like, you won't have to change a thing. Just come to we'll still post it, and you can still watch it right here. So
yep,
that's it.
Also on our new YouTube channel as well. So
that's right.
If for some reason you get banned on this one, you can.
Well, don't be telling people that.
9:60 a.m. Josh is the frequency.
Yes, so there are multiple ways to listen, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to growing the local audience as well, and because the radio audience is generally a different audience than what we've got on YouTube, and so it'll be fun to get that different sound, that different group of people, and actually, I'm looking forward to, when I'm not on the show, being able to listen as I'm driving around doing other things too. So it'll be kind of a win-win in that regard.
Yeah. And now people have asked about, well, I guess we can kind of wrap it up with this. People have asked about like a call-in, segment. That is something we're still working on. We're
trying to figure that part out.
Yeah. When we were talking a couple of weeks ago that we still had some technical things to figure it out. We had to make sure all the audio was going to work, through the radio station and back into our video feed and all that kind of stuff, and all that. Everything went fine there. We still have a little hoop to figure out in terms of the calls and getting them into the video. So hopefully we're able to do that.
And also thanks to Bob, our engineer, too, for helping make this happen.
100%.
So, Bob Henning, technological
Bob's the man.
genius.
Bob's the man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And there's also a dirty rumor out there that the next Blue Gold game could have a different sound to it.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, you're the one that brought that up to me, since it's carried on WSBT.
Well, it is a dirty rumor.
I mean, just saying.
Well, ND Sailor, as fate would have it, he's saying Eric Hansen was great on Sports Beat. He will be missed. Not so fast, my friend. Eric Hansen will still be a part of the Friday shows on Sports Beat with me. So he'll still be on once a week. Yeah, someone else asking that. Eric Hansen will still be on with me on Fridays on the show.
The other regular guests will not be, but Eric will be. So there.
Eric and I, in my my last Sports Beat stint, Eric and I did the show together for a few years, along with Darren, obviously, and so we actually talked yesterday. He called me yesterday, he texted me, and I called him, and we kind of figured some stuff out, and so Eric is going to be on Fridays starting. That'll be the 25th, July 25th would be our first Friday.
I'm glad you're mentioning that, because I was going to start harassing him on, texting him too. So that saves me something I got to do. So thank you.
All right. Dude just wants to know if this is the end of the whiteboard. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Like, Jessica can still.
It's got to be very descriptive. Whiteboard. That's all. It's got to be descriptive. And we've always had an audio version of the show with the podcast, so we're used to being verbally descriptive when talking about things. It's not just obviously all on video. Right. So, that won't. There's going to be a lot of the same, guys. That's what I want to stress. There's some things are going to look a little bit different, and we're going to have some different guests and some different things like that. But it's going to be a lot of the same stuff that we've been doing, just with a little bit of a tweak. Yeah,
like we said, the biggest change in your YouTube live stream will be, there will be times we have to stop for commercial breaks. Other than that, everything's going to be pretty much the same. So,
yep, there we go.
All right,
it'll be fun. I'm excited.
All right, Jim.
You too.
Enjoy your mood light.
I will. I'm gonna go dust the studio, because God, how long has that been since it's happened.
Basically
Well,
unused.
Based on what I saw last week, it's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm no prude.
yep. Yeah. I get it. I'm just kind of like, I was in there yesterday. Even I was like, so,
It's been a minute since anybody's been in there, though. You're right.
Yeah.
True.
So
That's true.
good
All right,
thing
man.
the good thing the Clorox wipes are on sale at Costco.
That's
Woo!
right. That's right.
So, all right. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, Jim. See you later.
ya.
All right. So there we go.
I'm glad we finally got that out there.
I know.
We've been sitting on it for a while, Sean, and I'm fired up about it. That test the other day that we did just got me even more excited. So I'm ready to roll with this thing, man.
Quite honestly, it went pretty smoothly.
It really did.
So it almost scares me how smoothly it went.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
We'll find out next week.
There's a lot of good coming, and it's gonna be fun. We're just gonna tweak some stuff.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's talk a little Notre Dame. We can kind of come back to this later because I'm sure that people will probably still be popping in and asking about it, over the course of the show. But we've got training camp in 17 days. Like, think about that for a minute. Notre Dame football training camp starts in 17 days.
That's not true. That's all I got. It's not true. There's too much going on between now and then for that to be true. That's where I'm at with this whole thing. Too much.
I know.
Hey, it is what it is.
So what we're going to talk about, camp confidences and concerns. So I've got kind of a list of some different stuff. We'll go through it and we'll decide, is it a confidence or a concern going into training camp? And if anybody wants, they can throw their own out there. But I think I've got a pretty comprehensive list.
I want to preface this whole conversation.
Okay.
Like, for me, because we're going to talk about like our concerns and like, whether we're concerned or not about different, groups and people and whatever. And I will say concerns for some things, but like my level of concern is different than some other years. You know what I mean? Like when we would do this sort of thing prior to other years, the concern was real. Like the concern was, I don't know if they have scholarship players that can fulfill this duty at a high level. That is no longer my concern. My concern level now is it's still a question mark as to how good they will be. Will they perform at a championship level, not just a Division I level? Will they perform at a championship level? You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of the way I did this, Sean, when I was looking at it. I was like, okay, if I'm concerned, I'm concerned they won't be a championship level group.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I don't want people to think, oh, DeDario thinks they're going to suck because he's got all these concerns and everything. Like, that's not where I'm at. But like, I have greater confidence in some groups over some other groups as to whether they'll play at a championship level.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's the way I did it. That's the way I did it.
Okay. That's fine. So I know that they're going to have a new starting quarterback, a first-time starting quarterback, no matter what. So is that a confidence or a concern going into training camp?
I feel like I've seen enough in practice, in blue gold games, where it's not a concern. I do think that and here's my reason why. I do think there's talent, obviously, in that room, much more than there has been in the past from top to bottom. And we're obviously mainly talking about the top two guys, the guys that are competing for the starting position. But there's a lot of talent in that room. And it's been very top heavy in the past, or it has been very mediocre in the past. We've had those conversations about development, things like that. I've seen enough from both of these guys to think that they will both be successful, whoever it ends up being. And on top of that, the talent level around them and behind them, in front of them, like that will elevate their play as well if there are some bumps in the road early on. So I do not have a concern at the quarterback position. There are still some questions as to how long will it take for them to gel? Are they going to be, how are they going to be on the road in a big moment right off the bat in game one?
That's stuff that we're only going to find out as they go along because, like I saw somebody on the Champions Lounge the other day looking for a comparison to CJ Carr, for example. And one of the responses was, well, how about we actually see CJ Carr play a real game before we start making comparisons to, to other quarterbacks but I get the fact that there is the desire to do, to make that kind of comparison, but he hasn't played a snap. And so I'm not, based on everything we've seen, especially from Carr, the composure that he has, the feel for the game that he has, the touch on it, the way he reads defenses, the whole thing. I see no reason for concerns right now, but it is still going to be a lot different when you go on the road for the first time and you face a real defense. Someone's, you've got a blitzer coming in your face and how you're going to deal with that and what you're going to do with the ball and, all those different things. But we've seen no reason so far in any times they've done live stuff to make us think, man, this guy, there's no way he can handle any of that kind of stuff. And because of the pedigree that he has, where he comes from, the family, he's obviously grown up under a different microscope than everybody else. So to me, it's not a concern. And I think the biggest quarterback question to me is ultimately how soon this decision gets made, how soon we all know about it, and that kind of thing. And that's a conversation for another day. But it is much more a confidence to me than any kind of concern.
Yes. No, I completely agree. I think if it goes past 10 days, I would be surprised, whichever direction that it goes, because I do think that they want to have the starter in place so they can start practicing in that manner.
Right.
And so if it goes more than 10 days, I would be surprised. And at that point, then it's just, again, we're only going to see so much. So we're all going to get baptized into whoever the quarterback is in game one. That's where we're all going to see whether he can do it or not. And by he, I just mean Minchie or Carr. But it's not a concern. They both have an immense amount of talent. And, to your point about blitzers and all that stuff, the offensive line was suspect at best during spring. So they were kind of running for their lives a little bit in the full practices and scrimmages that we were able to see. And I was fairly impressed with the way both of them participated against
they handled it well,
against pressure and all of those things. So, and again, small
now,
sample size.
In fairness, though, remember, most of what we saw in those practices, we didn't see the first team offensive line because you obviously had guys out with injury. So no,
100%. I mean, so it was backups that were all trying to play, and you had backups on the first team, and then you had backups to the backups on the second team, et cetera. And, so we saw these guys going up against a lot of pressure is the point that I'm making. And the defense was 100% healthy at that point. So they were definitely being pressured. Sure.
So Joe asks if a mid-season switch occurs, would that change your thinking? I mean, if a mid-season switch occurs, obviously that's going to be a huge concern because I don't think either one of us or Brian or, anyone here anticipates that would happen, that they would have to make some kind of switch mid-season.
If that happens, there's trouble in River City.
Yeah. Anytime you've got to do that's not injury related, that's a massive concern.
Correct.
And even if it is injury related, that does at least become some kind of concern because one, your starter got hurt, and two, then mid-season, wherever your team is, now you're relying on another guy who's coming in with very limited.
Right, you're back to square one. I mean, if you make that switch mid-season, that's okay, you're kind of throwing in the towel. In my opinion, at least that's what it would feel like without knowing all the circumstances. But it's okay, we're going to get rid of this guy who's played 4, 5, 6 games, and replace him with a guy who's played 0 games. So you're well, this guy's doing that poorly that we got to go back to square one with no experience. There's trouble brewing, or it's already there. So that would be a big time problem. Yeah, for sure.
So since you brought up the offensive line without Charles Jagasaw, confidence or concern?
So this one's tough because I think we would probably all say that Charles Jagasaw, and I know I'm pronouncing that name incorrectly now. There's a new pronunciation, right?
It's okay.
But
I try to slur it as much as possible.
Yeah, it's what I do when I'm doing a PA.
According to the pronunciation, let me see if I've still got that pronunciation. Go ahead.
But anyway, Charles Jagasaw is a kid who has, I think, 3 starts under his belt right now. That's the reality. Before this injury, we would have said he's the most talented offensive lineman that they have. He's a cornerstone. He's a guy that's going to dominate and all of those things. But the reality is they made it to the national championship game without him on a regular basis. And while I think the offensive line is better with him in it, I am not concerned about the offensive line with him out of it. And the other small piece of that is I don't think he's going to be out of it the entire season. I think he will be back at some point. What point that is remains to be seen. But I don't think it's going to be a situation where we're waiting until January for Charles Jagasaw to come back. I think it'll be earlier than that. So I do not have concern on the offensive line right now. We have been talking about the depth of the offensive line, specifically guard to guard, center guard, and that's where they have an injury. It's plug and play, in my opinion, now. So let's see where that depth is. Let's see if these guys are ready to roll. We're talking about 4 games, maybe, potentially. I'm good with it. I don't have a concern.
Okay, so according to the pronunciations that we got in the spring, they gave us rosters with name pronunciations spelled hyphenetically. Yeah, I think if I said that right for a second. Here it is.
Jog you saw. Okay, so that's the only difference.
That's exactly
jog instead of jag.
Yeah,
you jag big.
Jog you saw. Okay,
so got it.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, I still have a lot of confidence. Look, this obviously is not anything. Phonetically. Did I say phonetically?
No, you didn't. You said like not
hyphenetically. Yeah, that's
hyphenetically.
That's why it didn't sound right coming out of my mouth.
But I wasn't ready to correct you either.
Phonetically. So. Thank you. Man, brain is scrambled today. Day one coming back in. Jog you saw phonetically. Okay.
Jog you saw.
Look, Sullivan Absher with both
right.
Jog you saw and Gerby Lambert out. Sullivan Absher is the next guy.
That makes the most sense, right? I mean,
you've got a big body. He's like 320 pounds. You plug him in there at right guard. Like he felt like he was going to be, because we saw him play some center. Obviously, he felt like for those 3 interior positions, he was probably going to be the next guy in at all 3 of those. Now, really the only thing that changes, because you expect him to take over at right guard, at least while Jagisaw is out. And so now the question becomes, what do the number 2 spots for the rest of those positions look like? Since he was kind of looking like he was going to be the number 2 center, that feels like that's the biggest question right now. Hopefully they do get Jagisaw back by October. And then I think that you're going to go from what should be still a really good starting 5 to, an excellent starting 5 that's going to compete for the Joe Moore Award and all that kind of stuff. Now, the other question though, Anthony Knapp, confidence, concern, because obviously I think he remains kind of the lightning rod of this group.
Yeah. I can't really argue that, right? I mean,
well, he's a lightning rod, but is it confidence or concern? That's the question. Is he?
Why don't you take this one first? I'm gonna let you go first.
You don't want to say it. You're copping out on this, is what you're doing.
No, I'm gonna let you go first.
I am not nearly as concerned as I think a lot of people seem to be. There are some people who are confident in Knapp. I feel like where he is right now, after getting thrown into the fire as a true freshman, I do think we're going to see a better Anthony Knapp this year as a sophomore with all that experience at 15 games under his belt, basically. And as we've talked about before, his play really seemed to improve when Billy Schrouth moved over there at guard next to him. And we expect that Schrouth is going to be there again. So I feel like it's going to be better. I don't know if it's a majority or at least, like whatever vocal minority, whatever it is. I think it's going to be better than most people seem to be expecting.
Yeah, for me, I think that if you go back and you watch last year, he got markedly better when he got a really good left guard next to him, Billy Schrauth.
Yep.
That helped him tremendously. And he's back, obviously. And so these guys have history together now. They've played together now for multiple games. Having Billy Schrauth next to Knapp makes me not worry about Knapp, to be perfectly honest with you. And he's got an entire season under his belt as well. Look, you put a gun to my head, I'm still pushing him inside and I'm starting somebody else at left tackle. But this is still college football. And Notre Dame has done pretty good with guys who played tackle in college and then moved inside in the NFL. I still think Anthony Knapp is an inside guy when he at the next level. I think he'd be a really good inside guy at this level. But right now, your tackle options are either injured or a true freshman.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think one of the biggest questions are going to be, how long is it going to take Lambert to get healthy and be able to come back and compete? Will that happen in training camp at some point? Will he be able to compete for a job before camp is over with?
And are you counting on a true freshman in black to be the guy ready to roll? You know, that, and I realize Anthony Knapp was a true freshman. I get that. But, you know, if you're banking on a true, it's like they didn't bank on a true freshman. He earned the spot in practice, right? He wasn't the first guy that they put out there. They put out Tosh
He was
Baker.
out there because Jagasaw got hurt. It was out of necessity. Yeah.
So your tackle options are limited right now because Jagasaw's hurt, Lambert's hurt, and the other guy's a true freshman. So right now, Anthony Knapp is your best bet at tackle, and he's got an entire season of reps under his belt.
Exactly.
He is not going to get worse than he was last year. The general progression of any athlete is they're going to get bigger, stronger, faster. That is what I anticipate from Anthony Knapp. If he's better than he was last year, Notre Dame's going to be just fine.
And again, having Schrauth next to him, like when you're calling out, they're calling out assignments, and like you're like speed of the game, and you're figuring out where the rush is coming from. Is it a loop? Is it all those different things? Where the blitzes are coming from. Like it all, like there's going to be a lot more recognition on his part after being basically baptized by fire all of last year.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So he'll be fine. I don't really have a concern level. Again, would I start somebody else? Yeah, but two guys that I would start are both injured. So
and that's just like last year,
right?
It leaves you with minimal options.
Absolutely.
So you can complain about it if you want, like if it comes to it.
They're both hurt.
There aren't any other options.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, it is what it is at this point. Like right now, your best option is to put Sullivan Absher at guard. Hope he, takes that spot and holds it and does a great job. And then you wait for Jagasaw to get back and you roll with it. Like that's the perfect world right now for Notre Dame, barring any more injuries, which of course you hope doesn't happen.
Brent wants to know if Knapp has added any muscle. I would hope that he has.
Yeah, and we won't know until we get there at the end of July, early August. I mean, we don't see him.
Right.
I
can't remember like when we get offensive linemen. We're not supposed to talk about that.
As far as like availability.
But yeah, I mean, we'll get to see him at some point when they come out. I'm sure he'll be one of the offensive linemen that we get to talk to.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
He's at 296. I mean, he's basically, maybe a cheeseburger heavier than Emil Wagner. Like they're both similar frame, similar size. But those long arms stand out. But I would think I would think that after basically a year and a half, because he was a spring early enrollee, going through all of that second off season, that he's going to come in much stronger than he was a year ago at this time. And it's not that he was weak last year, but again, like you're in that strength program for an extra year. ESPN says tight end is a big concern heading into this season. How big of a concern is it for you?
It is a concern.
For Notre Dame specifically.
Yeah. It's a concern because you just don't know about the depth situation right now because of the injuries and things like that. So for me, it is a concern. I don't have a concern like, with the talent level, right? because I'm very confident, that Eli Raridan is talented and he's ready for a breakout year and all of that. But you worry about injuries, right? I don't know anything about Ty Washington because he wasn't here in the spring and didn't really get to see anything that he could do. So what is the depth like behind Eli Raridan? That's the thing. And at Notre Dame is tight end you figure they can go 2, 3, sometimes 4 deep. What does that look like? You know what I mean? And the injuries are a concern right now. So that's why it's a concern for me, not from a talent level standpoint. I think both Flanagans are talented. I think Jack Larson's talented. I think they've got a bunch of talent in the room. I just don't know what the availability is.
Yeah.
As somebody said in the chat, your best ability is your availability. That describes the tight end room for me.
And that's going to be the biggest question,
right?
Because they've all been hurt at some point.
Correct.
And like with the exception of Ty Washington, and that'll be a little bit of a question, the guy coming in from Arkansas, like if health is not a concern, I think it's going to be a great room with Eli Raridan likely as the number one guy. We got to see some shades of that in the spring game there at the end, with some of the stuff that Eli Raridan can do. We've known all along that this guy can be a difference maker, the only question has been health. Can he stay healthy? That's the thing. Kevin Bauman has battled a million injuries in his career at Notre Dame. And again, like the other guys have all been hurt as well. So if they can stay healthy, it's going to be fine. But that'll be the biggest question, is just how healthy they can stay.
Agreed. So it's a concern because of health. Yeah.
Right. Go Irish Nate. Are we expecting the same amount of practice availability as last year? We know we get one full practice and there are a handful of, like the first 4 or 5 periods or whatever, but there'll be one full practice as of right now.
And it's the first one. I think we can say that. It's the first practice of the season, and which means they're going to be out there in shorts, T-shirts, and helmets. So take what you can get from that. We'll be able to look and see, okay, this kid got bigger over the summer, that kind of stuff. We'll be able to see who's moving around, who's taking first team reps, which mean nothing on day one, that kind of stuff. Take that for what it's worth. But that's the only practice that we're going to get. So
Malachi Fields, we didn't get to see him in the spring. He wasn't practicing with the team yet in the spring, the Virginia transfer wide receiver. Not a concern by any means.
Right.
But are we too confident considering that we didn't get to see him in the spring and this is another guy transferring in? Because felt like we were pretty confident in like Chris Mitchell and so, like the guys that they had transferring in last year.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I feel like we're always overly confident in the wide receivers and they let me down. And it's not even all their fault per se. I mean, sometimes it's the quarterbacks, whatever, right? But the production of the wide receivers is always lower than I anticipate. So I'm like purposely tampering my expectations on Fields and the crew because they've burned me in the past. It's a concern just because we don't know. And, I've seen anywhere from him being a top 10 NFL draft pick next year to being like a late day 2 guy, coming off the board and anywhere in between. So, who is this kid? How is he going to adapt going from, Virginia to Notre Dame? He torched Notre Dame last year, and we all know Notre Dame had a good secondary last year, and he had a day.
He did.
So he can play against good secondaries. How is that going to adapt to Notre Dame? I think he'll probably be good, and I think he'll probably end up being the 1 or 1B guy. But that's a massive question mark, man, because I just haven't seen him in a Notre Dame helmet. I've seen him do nothing in a Notre Dame helmet.
Exactly.
So it's still okay. It's a concern. I'll be the first one. It's a concern for me.
So you're making it true concern.
Yes, I am.
Not even like we're overconfident.
Because I don't know. I just fair. And I haven't. That. I will admittedly,
because we've heard good things about Will Pauling out there this summer as well. But again, we got to see a little bit of him.
I wasn't
in the spring, but
overly impressed in the spring. But again, he's getting his feet wet. He's learning, all of those things. But then again, so is going to be Malachi Fields in the fall because he hasn't had any practices. So
exactly,
how long is it going to take for him to get up to speed and be that number one guy. You know, that's what concerns me because, you know, obviously in a perfect world, you want him to be on his P's and Q's in game 1 and game 2. Like, you got to come out the gate firing. And are you going to be ready after a month of practice to be at the top of your game for those 2 games? Arguably the biggest 2 games of the year.
Yeah.
So
like right out of the gate. Yeah. Because
that's a concern for me.
It is a new quarterback, and you're still getting on the same page, and you didn't go through practices to, you know, like, because again, we all thought that things were going to take off to a much different level last year, and the passing game took forever to come around. And, you know, even but Riley Leonard was able to figure some things out with his legs, and you didn't need it quite as much. And I think that that's why it is maybe a concern for some people, but we all also think that the passing game is just going to look a lot different. And having a guy with that body type is going to help out a first-time starting quarterback quite a bit.
Right.
So there were a couple questions I wanted to pop in here. Sly Fox says he wished Rocco would have stayed due to the Jags injury. I mean, one, you can't bank on an injury happening. Two, the way they've recruited, and like I've got zero concerns in Sullivan Absher based on, now granted it wasn't a huge body of work sample size that we got to see in the spring, but based on what we got to see of Absher in the spring, I have every confidence that he can plug in there and play a pretty high level of guard with Jagasaw out. So I'm not really concerned about that.
Yep. I am not concerned, to be perfectly honest with you. Look, Rocco was a good player. He's a really good player for Notre Dame when he played, but it was time. Like, he wasn't going to start, so why would he stick around? Why would he go from a starting role to a backup role just to ease everybody's mind?
Right.
Now that Jagasaw
he needed to go to another Power 4 school where he was going to be able to start, and that's what he got by going to Nebraska. So, I mean, Michael makes a good point. He says, concern means you need to see it to believe in Joe Rudolph and his recruiting and development without one practice. He says he has zero concerns in mid-July. And I think that is a completely fair statement, because when you look at the level of recruiting that Joe Rudolph has done at this position, I mean, look at the way some people get hounded for, you know, the lack of recruit, you know, some of these position coaches for the lack of recruiting. You can't say that about Joe Rudolph.
Right.
And the line played pretty well last year. Again, if you're grading Knapp on the curve as a true freshman last year, he played pretty well. He got better as the season went on, and we expect him to be better. So, yeah, I mean, we're all confident in the recruiting that Rudolph has done. And like I just said, I'm not concerned about Absher stepping in. I think he's going to be just fine. I mean, having Jagasaw out there, that line would be even better, but you're going to have a pretty good right guard in the meantime, assuming that Absher ends up being the guy over there.
Yep.
Okay. So what about the safety position after losing Xavier Watts? And Brent Smith threw this in there. Who will start at free safety? I mean, that will be actually one of the bigger questions in camps. But what is your level of concern in this?
It's not a level of concern. I think it's a level of excitement, because I think you've got a lot of talent back there battling for that spot. I think you've got a competition between Jalen Stroman. I think you've got a competition from Tate Johnson. I think you've got competition there from Jadon Blair. I'm excited about it. I think Luke Talich is going to be in the mix. You know, Ben Minnick might be in. You know, there's a lot of guys that are kind of in the mix for that starting safety spot, and whoever goes out there and wins that job is going to be good. So it's not a concern for me. It's an excitement level for me, based on the guys that are competing for it and have the opportunity to gain that spot.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in a guy, Stroman, with a lot of experience from Virginia Tech, and based on, you know, again, spring is the spring, and you know who you're going up against and all that different kind of stuff. And plenty of guys have had great springs and it doesn't pan out. But I mean, based on what we saw in the spring, like, you're bringing in this guy with experience, there's no guarantee he's going to end up winning the job, because like one of your homegrown guys might end up beating him out, you know, with what you've got over there. So I think I'm with you. Like, this is not a concern to me, really, it's a lot of confidence because of what they've done recruiting this position the last few cycles and where they've moved this safety room to. Like, I don't think you're going to need to bring in a transfer safety again for a long time after this year. So I think they'll be just fine. It's just a question of who the guy is going to be. But we saw, and again, there's a reason Kennedy Urlacher decided to transfer, because went through the spring and figured out.
He's a talented kid. Like, Kennedy Urlacher's a talented kid. We all know his propensity to come down, make plays, and in the run game and all of those different things. Like, he's a talented kid. And if he is seeing the writing on the wall that he's kind of buried in the depth chart, that should tell you how much talent there is in that room. That's why I'm excited about it. I'm not concerned about it. And I don't really have a dog in the fight, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't care who wins that job. And there might be a rotation back there. You might see 4 different safeties, in the mix. Cool. Like, I don't care, because I think there's a lot of talent in that room.
Brent wants to know if Dallas Golden will crack the starting lineup. Nickel specifically is what he's asking.
I would be surprised if that was the case. I think they're kind of set with who they want where. I think Devontae Smith right now is kind of slated to take that nickel spot. I don't think anything is written in pen right now, but I think he's going to get the first crack at it. So if you're asking me right now on July 14th without seeing anybody play anything, I do not think he's going to crack the starting lineup. Could he be in a rotation? Maybe.
Right. I don't think he'll crack the starting lineup, especially early in the season, but I will not be shocked if we see a lot of him as the season goes along. I mean, look at what happened last year. Like, you obviously don't want to, like, talk about injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, stuff happens.
For sure.
Stuff happens. You needed Leonard Moore to step in. Leonard Moore didn't start the season really on anybody's radar, but he sure finished it on everybody's. So,
I mean, we talked about him, but we certainly didn't talk to him in the regards of how he ended up. I mean, that's special teams for sure. I mean, a lot of these freshmen that are coming in, these talented freshmen, are not coming in to redshirt. They're coming in to help the football team.
Yep.
So,
What about defensive end without Jordan Patelho? Confidence or concern?
It's not a concern. Look, if you were going to guarantee me that he would be the Jordan Patelho that he was in the first 3 games or 2.5 games last year, then I'd be like, yeah, this is a concern, because how are you going to replace that kind of potential production? The problem is, in his career, this is his 6th year, by the way, I do believe. I'm going off the top of my head. He's had 2.5 games of production, and over 5 years, over 5 seasons. And so it's kind of a similar argument to the Jagasaw argument, in that there's no guarantee he was going to be the guy that he was at the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
And they've got depth there. They've got talent there. And he is not the automatic answer for me. I have never been I don't want to say a huge Patelho fan, because I really love the way he was playing last year. It made me a fan. But the track record is spotty at best. And so how's he going to come off this injury? What is he going to look like? All of those different things I think come into play here. And so if it's just a specific, am I worried because he's not starting? I am not worried because he's not starting. I am more worried, and worried is not even the right word, but again, it's an excitement level as to who's going to step up, in those spots.
Yeah, my only concern is just that we haven't seen Traore yet either. And is he going to be himself? Because these are guys who are both coming off significant injuries from a year ago, and it hasn't quite been, they both suffered them. I think it was in September. Both suffered them in September, a week apart. So that's my only concern. But at the same time, like, if you have Traore and everybody's healthy, you've got Boubacar Traore, you've got Junior Tuihalamaka, a lot of experience that Tuihalamaka got last year. You've got Bryce Young and Josh Burnham. And remember, like, those are your top 4 guys. And remember, it's not Viper end and big end anymore. It's right and left. So, like, those are your top 4. And that's not even factoring Logan Thomas into the mix,
who I think is
going to make some big strides himself this year.
Yeah.
There's a ton of potential there for him. So I think it is it is a confidence. The only concern is just the health of Botelho and the health of Traore and what that looks like.
Yep, exactly. This defense is going to be fun to watch. They're going to be so athletic. Like, that's the best part about this whole thing.
No doubt. What about the interior defensive line? They brought in Jared Dawson from Louisville and then the three technique, Elijah Hughes from USC. Confidence or concern?
I've got confidence there. I think that they're probably going to be better than they've been in the past. I think it's going to be a very Moneyball type situation in that you're going to replace two, kind of superstar guys in the aggregate, as they like to say. In my best Brad Pitt. But I think
have you seen the F1 movie yet?
No, I need to. So I saw Superman this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, but I need to see F1. Like, that's next on the list.
We saw F1 and not Superman.
See, we're off. We're off.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But I am not worried about it because I think they're deeper than they've ever been, and I think there's going to be a little bit more size in there than there has been. So I'm excited about the interior of the defensive line, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm confident in the D line.
Excited to see Gabe Rubio with
Yeah.
a bigger role this year. I think that's going to be really good for both him and the team. Excited to get Jason Onye back, and that there's a guy who was making some waves in the spring. We've seen him make some waves in the spring before, so hopefully that continues. You still have a lot of experience with Heinisch, and you do have Dawson, and you've also got Sevillano, who's another huge body who I think is hopefully, we get to see some more out of him in the rotation this year. So there's a lot there. It's a lot of potential, some experience. I think that overall it's going to end up being pretty good, though. So it's a slight concern, but I'm not overly concerned. It's only a slight concern because we haven't got to see it yet. And those other two guys were so good when they were both out there together. Brent, who's Fabio? He said he just watched Moneyball this morning.
That's fantastic.
We're not selling blue jeans, baby.
Oh, that's just a great movie. It was funny. As an aside, there's a theme at the high school every year, and this year's theme is going to be the movies. When we're supposed to dress up eventually, like our favorite characters or whatever. I was like, I'll wear a polo shirt and track pants. You can just call me Billy Bean, baby.
There you go.
No one would get it.
No, that's true.
No one would get it.
That's true, because you just look like, what are you supposed to be? A gym coach or
nobody would get it at all. You might have to help me with who I'm dressing up as, by the way. We'll have to get to that one.
Okay. All right. So let's go to something near and dear to your heart. Kicker.
Oh, baby.
North Carolina transferred Noah Burnett, as we all know, a little bit shaky in the spring. I'm just putting this on my concern list. I tend to think it's going to work itself out, but at the same time, based on what we did see in the spring, it's a legitimate concern going in, I think.
Look, I think I have a little. It's interesting because you would think somebody in my position would either be overly critical of the kicker or more rope, right? And I feel like I'm in the camp with him on this one in the more rope scenario. He missed one field goal in the blue gold game, and it was ugly. It was one of the ugliest misses I've ever seen. I mean, it was disgusting. Mm-hmm. It looked like I was trying to kick a field goal. That's what that looked like. And he's supposed to be, the kid coming in here to be a great kicker. But the rest of them all look great. So I am willing to write it off at this point as a getting used to a new snapper, a new holder, first time playing in Notre Dame Stadium, all of those kinds of things, because the rest of them were all good. And they look good. They weren't just good, between the uprights. They were good. The operation was good. Everything was good. It's like he got the yip out of his way on the first kick. So the way I look at it is I'm willing to kind of wait and see. It's not a concern of mine yet because, look, Notre Dame hasn't had, confident kicking in a little while because of either injury or just incompetence. And they got it when it mattered last year. Can they get it the entire year this year? I think remains to be seen, but I'm not concerned about it yet. It's like I'm willing to wait and see how it looks. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, like I'm not freaking out about it, but I have to put it in the in a show where we've done confidences and concerns, where we've had very few concerns. I have to at least put it in the slight concern until we do see it. I mean, really, you haven't had very many concerns, which is kind of shocking. Do you have any concerns that we haven't brought up to this point?
Well, my concern was with Malachi Fields, and I will extend that to the entire wide receiving core, because, like I said before,
we see it. Yeah.
They've burned me in the past. I'm not willing to get burned this time, so I am very. While everything on paper looks great, I am gonna take a very tepid, approach towards the wide receivers. I do think they're gonna have somebody better throwing them the football. So I'm good there, but can they get the separation? Can they get off the line quickly? Can they do everything they need to do to take the pressure off of the run game? Because I have no concerns when it comes to the run game. You know what I mean? So wide receiver is still a concern for me. And then overall, as Craig D put into the chat just now, it's not a concern, but it is a big question mark, is the influence of Chris Ash on this defense and what that's going to look like. Like, that's a legitimate concern for me. And again, it's not a concern like I think they're going to suck, because I feel like you or I could take the defensive play call sheet and still put a good defense out there for Notre Dame, because there's a ton of talent out there. You know what I mean? But like, what are the nuances going to be? Is he going to blitz at the wrong time? Is it going to, those kinds of things that Al Golden,
and that was something that Al Golden was really good at. Like, with the exception of, year one, game one, right?
And that's and year one, game one's down in Miami, big game. You don't want to blitz at the wrong time because you've got a veteran quarterback back there that can make you pay for it, right? So what is his influence going to look like? So it's not a concern as much as it is just a question mark, right? Those would be my two biggest ones.
And that's again, like going into training camp, I don't think Chris Ash is a concern, but
right.
And I don't think he's a concern going into the season, but it is, as you said, it is a question mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be at one full practice and a bunch of 5 periods or 4 periods, right? We will know this much about Chris Ash going into the first game. We will know zero about what his influence.
And we're only going to get the answers to those questions as we see him call games, in real games.
Yep,
that's it.
It's the only way. It's how we found out about Marcus Freeman. It's how we found out about Al Golden. It's like all these guys aren't going to get anything from practice because they're not going to show us anything in practice. You know what I mean? And unless they're going to email out the call sheet before the game starts, which obviously is not going to happen. We're not going to have any clue what it's going to look like. You know what I mean? And even if, let's pretend they did do that, Sean. They email us the call sheet. It would be like Greek. We wouldn't even know what it meant. You know what I mean? Because we're not on the inside. We don't know what the play calls are. So
what about the punt returners and kickoff returners?
So obviously, go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So obviously we don't know who they're going to be. But
that's all.
Do they have a bevy of options? That's the thing. They have a ton of options, because a lot of these guys, especially guys that are rising sophomores and rising freshmen, have experience returning kicks, whether it's punts, whether it's kickoffs or whatever, because you generally put your fastest, best guys back there, and Notre Dame has a ton of those guys. And so they've got a ton of options. You don't have to put Jeremiah Love back there. You don't have to put Jadarian Price back there. You don't have to put Faison back there, although I think he is a good punt returner. You've got a ton of options. So while, Craig, I don't know exactly who it's going to be, that's going to be one of the fun things to watch, because I guarantee you they will roll out a group of guys doing both of those things in practice number 1 that we will be able to see. And we'll be frantically writing down the numbers of the guys that are returning punts and kicks, because I think that's just, if there's a position that's wide open, I think it's in the return game. Those positions are wide open to me, because that's a chance for guys to get on the field and make some plays.
Yes. There's so many more options, to your point. There's so many more options for return men than what they've had before. But like dynamic speed type guys. Last one we're going to do, double bogey like a champ, asks about linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And now they don't have Jack Kaiser this year, but to me, this is a total confidence, because last year is where I had the concern because of the fact that you lost both Leofau and Bertrand, and you had all these inexperienced guys. You had a true freshman as talented as he was in Kingston Viliamu Asa. You had Drake Bowen, who saw some playing time as a freshman, but, you know, a lot of special teams time, and had never really been there at linebacker. You still had big questions, I think, with Jalen Sneed and to some extent with Jaden Osbury. But all of those guys got big-time experience last year because of that 5-man rotation that they were playing in. So I have zero concerns. Like, to me, the biggest question is, do we see Bowen and KVA playing next to each other as opposed to, you know, is KVA backing up Bowen? I think that's really maybe the biggest linebacker question that I would have going into camp. How about you?
That is, yes, that is the biggest question, and I think will be answered relatively quickly. I think that is going to be the starting lineup at linebacker. I think it's going to be those two, and then you're going to see, you know, different guys come on in different packages, but I think primarily it's going to be those two. I don't see how you keep those two off the field, and I don't care that they're both quote unquote Mike linebackers. You are a better football team when those two are on the field at the same time. And I don't see any way around that. You bring in Jalen Sneed for certain things.
They could both be All-Americans this year. If
Absolutely.
they're playing 100%. Next to each other. They could both 100%. Be All-Americans.
And you bring in Jalen Sneed and pass rush. You know, you can bring in Osbury for different things. Like, you can do all of those things because you do have a talented room there. There's no doubt. Those are your two best guys. Those two need to be playing at the same time. I don't see a world in which that doesn't happen. Again, my opinion, nothing has pointed us in that direction. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. So Double Bogey says, does Ash employ the rotation? Was more his
It won't
question.
Be Ash that does it.
It'll still be Max Bulla.
It'll be Max Bulla, and he knows every one of these guys, you know, inside and out. So he'll be the one that is employing the rotation.
And I asked him about the rotation in the spring, and he said that this year is much more about like just getting the best guy on the field as much as best guys on the field,
right,
as much as possible. So I don't think they'll be nearly as we'll still see, you know, like you can throw Madden Faremo into that mix as well, but we'll still see those primary 4 returning from last year, and then probably some of Faremo as well, you know, depending on where he is. And that, you know, who knows, like some others, might find their way into the mix as well. But I don't think we see quite as heavy a rotation as we saw last year.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Well, I think that is it for our questions and concerns. I saw somebody did kind of, and it might have been the Double Bogey. Somebody got in late and was asking about the big announcement. We'll circle back to the big announcement at the end of Rapid Fire. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Now I've got to the format, like on our end of all these different things, changed a little bit. So things look a little bit different.
It does look a little bit different.
Yes.
They have changed it like 4 or 5 times in the last week, actually. So
they have.
So
they have. But are you ready for Rapid Fire?
You know I'm ready for Rapid Fire, baby. Let's do it.
All right. So fill in the blank. As Notre Dame football continues its recent recruiting heater, it's blank that longtime recruiting guru Tom Lemming says Notre Dame defensive backs coach Mike Mickens is now, quote, the premier DBs coach in the country when you combine coaching and recruiting, end quote.
Long overdue. This has been the case, in my opinion, for the last few years. Now we're closer to it than obviously Lemming is because he's doing the entire country. And I know, like in the past, there was and I don't know everybody's names, and so that's on me. But Nick Saban was a premier DBs coach, even though he was the head coach. There was the guy out at Washington, and I don't think he's there anymore, was the premier DB coach, in the country, that kind of a deal. So, Mickens should have been in the mix at that point, but he has absolutely when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching guys up, development, starting at Cincinnati, has just been knocking it out of the park, year in and year out. So I think this is long overdue. I agree with him completely. And I really hope, and I know they are, but I really hope Notre Dame's doing what they need to do to keep him in-house for as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you're just telling anyone who covers Notre Dame and anyone who follows Notre Dame fans who follow it closely, you're just telling everybody what they already know. It is nice to see someone with a national megaphone like this make a proclamation like that. But like when you see him locking down these DBs,
oh my gosh,
left and right, and you see how a guy, again, like a true freshman like Leonard Moore was able to jump right in and play last year, and you've got Benjamin Morrison, you've got Christian Gray, you've got this track record now already, and like you said, go back to Cincinnati. The fact that you can hang your hat on Sauce Gardner, like you were the guy who saw something in Sauce Gardner and turned him into a first-round draft pick, like that's who Mike Mickens is, and that's what we've known all along, and that's why everyone starts sweating when the end of the season rolls around about whether or not he's going to stick around. There's a reason Texas wanted to poach him and get him down there, So, yeah, much deserved, but again, sort of preaching to the choir, I think.
Absolutely.
Around here, anyway. Fill in the blank. It's blank that former Notre Dame running back Kyren Williams comes in at number 85 in the NFL's top 100 players of 2025 list.
It is shocking if you would have told me this 2 years ago. Obviously he has gone out there and, I think he led the league in yards and he's done all these things in the NFL, which is like shocking, especially in the offense that he's playing in, because, when you think of the McVay offense and you think of, the Rams, you think of throwing the ball all over the place and doing all these different things. And he's out there racking up yards and doing his thing. And like when, he got put in the doghouse as a freshman, at Notre Dame, people kind of wrote him off. And then all of a sudden, he explodes and does his thing at Notre Dame. And then, he's still small and he's still this and he's still that. And then he goes to the NFL and dominates. It's like, I'd have thought you were crazy if you would have told me that, but good on him, man. Like, good on him. He is an easy guy to root for. I will say that. He is an easy guy to root for.
3 years ago, when Kyren Williams was drafted, 163 players were picked ahead of him before he finally went with 164th pick in the 5th round of the draft. And now, after 3 years in the league and back-to-back years of over 1,100 plus yards, he is considered the number 85 player in the NFL, which is actually down a little bit. He was number 78 last year. But again, like when you put it in the perspective of like, this guy was a 5th round pick, 164th overall, 2 years in a row now, he's considered a top 100 NFL player. I mean, it says something about him, and like Toonsa says, the guy just keeps coming at you, just a total baller, doesn't quit. But he had almost 1,300 yards and 14 touchdown runs last year. Those are good numbers no matter where you look. His yards per carry was down a little bit, but the team was better last year. And I think he's just going to keep getting better over the next few years. So obviously good for Kyren Williams. It's pretty awesome to see him, come in on a list like this 2 years in a row, because this is voted on by the NFL players.
Yeah. So they know. You know what I mean? It's not a popularity contest. It's who do I not want to go up against is what that says. And that's a lot of respect, and I think that's awesome.
So what other former Irish players do you think will show up in the rest of the top 100?
So is this a thing where I'm guessing and you're going to tell me whether I'm right or wrong? Is that where we're at here?
They are releasing these week to week. So of right now, we're just trying to guess together. Who we think is going to show up as they keep releasing these. So I don't have they have not released the full list yet. They've released it's like 10 at a time over the last.
Because I haven't seen obviously anything yet, so I'm completely flying blind. But I would say Kyle Hamilton would be one. I think Harrison Smith is still one of the higher paid safeties in the league, so I feel like he's probably on that list as well. I think that Nelson will be on that list. I mean,
I agree.
He's still a premier guard. in the NFL. So that's 3 guys for sure. Let's see. Who else do you think would be on that list? Sean? Those are the 3 guys that come to mind right away. Martin would have been, but he retired.
Julian Love actually made it last year at number 95. So I'm curious to see. They have released up to number 79 so far. So that's as far as they've gotten so far. And it's like every week, this is going to continue like into August. They're going to slow play this whole thing until the season starts. Yeah. I think Kyle Hamilton and Quentin Nelson are locks. I'm a little bit, I don't like Harrison Smith. I don't know if he officially retired or if he was still talking about. But he was 93 last year. But I mean, this is still for last year. So I don't know exactly. But even if he plays, I feel like since he was 93 last year, like if he was going to show up, we might have already seen his name this year.
That's fair.
But he has been a guy who's consistently been on these lists, so like you weren't out of the ballpark by any means. I'm wondering, like, does Julian Love maybe jump up a little bit, or is his slot kind of passed already? I think that he is the final question. Hamilton and Quentin Nelson, I think, are locks. Obviously, there's no more Zach Martin because he did retire. I think Julian Love, outside of Hamilton and Nelson, probably has the most realistic chance of any former Notre Dame guy to show.
Is that it? Did I get everybody you thought?
I think you did.
Okay.
I think you did. Okay. Like Harrison Smith would be a question.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair because he's older. He's on the he's on the back end.
Little bit. Yeah, he's slipped a little bit each of the last few years down to number 93 last year.
Yeah, he's he's on the back end of his career, and so I get all of that.
Yeah.
It's interesting that there's probably not going to be, a tight end on that list. I don't know that Michael Mayer has really made a name for himself just yet.
Yeah, Cole
I mean, there's at least 3 tight ends that are starting in the league. Wright is up in Detroit still, I do believe. I don't know. He's tight end 2, but sometimes they start in double tights, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Trying to think of anybody else. But either way, you would hope that it would be a Notre Dame tight end on that list, but I don't know that there will be. You know what I mean? Like that's the only point I'm making.
Sure. I agree. All right. We're going to guess Purdue's season over/under win total. This one's a little bit different because we've predominantly done pretty good teams. Now we're going to do Purdue, a team that won 1 game last year.
Yeah.
So here's their schedule: Ball State, Southern Illinois, USC, at Notre Dame, Illinois, at Minnesota, at Northwestern, Rutgers, at Michigan, Ohio State, at Washington, and then they finish against Indiana. So what do you think Purdue's over/under is going to be for this season?
So if you remember last year, Sean, they put a whooping on Indiana State, which is a 1AA team, in the first game of the season. And as you had mentioned, that was their only win of the year.
That was it.
Now the rest of their games were Power 5 games, or Power 4 games. If I'm rapidly looking at the schedule correctly, and I believe I am. So they were all either Big Ten games, or they played Notre Dame, or they played Oregon State. So, they only had kind of one, layup game, if you will, right? One game that they should win, and they did win it handily. And they've got 2 of those this year in Ball State and Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois, I believe, is a 1AA, and obviously Ball State is a bottom feeder of the MAC. I think they get both of those games. And Ball State has a new coaching staff, a lot of turnover. And as much as I like Ball State, and as much as I'm cheering for our buddy Shaq Van, who's the wide receivers coach down there, I think the Boilers are just going to have too much talent to lose to Ball State. So I think they
brought in the UNLV coach. He had some success out there. But he's got a lot of work to do on this roster.
He's got a lot of work to do. And so, it's 2 brand new coaching staffs, obviously, in that first game. But again, sometimes it's just the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's, and that's
Right.
how it was against Indiana State, right? Like
Purdue should have more talent than Ball
Right.
State. Yeah.
And they should have more talent than Southern Illinois. And so I'm going to give them those 2 games. After that, I don't see an obvious win on this schedule. You could see a potential game against Northwestern. Maybe Rutgers. They're hosting Rutgers. They have to go on the road against Northwestern. I see 2 here, man. I see 2. I
agree. I think it's 2.5.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 2.5. And if you're feeling lucky, you take the over on this one. Because like I said, maybe Rutgers, maybe Northwestern. If they get one of those, then it's the over. But I think it's 2.5, which is really sad.
I do too.
It's really sad.
It could be pretty ugly again when Purdue in that big drum comes to town this year.
The old drum.
Okay, so we're guessing Purdue's Vegas over/under. We use the FanDuel app to get our call. So we're locked in. We're both saying 2.5.
2.5.
Okay, here it is. 3.5 is what.
3.5. I'll take the under. I mean,
I know.
Just take the under.
Because I mean, they're setting it at 3.5. The over, you get plus 184 odds. There's no way they're winning 4 games.
No.
Under is minus 230.
So you're not getting any link. You're not.
This feels like a line that. This feels like a line that should be 2.5. Like,
yeah, you're not making any money by taking the under. Yeah. Like, because they anticipate that it's going to be the under. Right. Like that's what that tells me. Oh my goodness gracious. That's they got to be celebrating if their line's at 3.5. Like,
I know.
Vegas believes. They believe.
Feel good,
in us.
Purdue. Feel good, Purdue. They feel good about
goodness. You know, I like when Purdue's good. It's just they're not good, and that's the reality of the situation. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. They're just not a good football team.
It's going to be a while before they're good, you know, because like what they've got to get figured out is the NIL thing, especially compete because like they're competing with Indiana. Like that's who they're competing with, and Indiana obviously lapped them a couple times last year with the season that they had, and that's what Purdue's got to figure out. Like Kurt Signetti is complaining about their NIL down there at IU, but it's from what I understand, it's a heck of a lot better than what Purdue's got going on right now.
Oh my gosh, they've got it not be.
Yeah, they've got to figure that out
because at least IU has something in the bucket to be like, hey, look what we did. You know, give us more money. And look, IU should be competitive with like the middle of the pack, Big Ten. There's some pretty high-end donors, in the IU world. It's just, do they want to give their money to basketball or do they want to give their money to football?
Right.
You know what I mean? So they'd have to figure all that out. But
I wonder how much money Mark Cuban gives.
That's a great question. Yeah, no, that's a great question.
So I'm in the press box at the playoff game, and
did you?
Yeah, I think the broadcast school down there is named after him, if I'm not mistaken, like the Cuban whatever it is.
Really, he has nothing to do with broadcasting except the check. I'm sure got cashed.
Well, he was that's how he made his money. Was
what?
Yeah, he was.
I thought he was like a tech guru.
He was.
Oh, okay.
He was the guy who built. I can't remember what the name of the website was now, but he's the guy who built the website so that basically, like, he didn't live, in Bloomington. He lived wherever he lived at that point. He built the website to stream games. So like,
really?
Yeah. So like, it's all a lot different, obviously now.
Sure.
But he was like the first guy, built the website, to stream, games and all that kind of stuff, and broadcast rights to the different things, and he sold it, and that's how he made his first, however many millions of dollars. Broadcast something.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it all. That's how it all started. for Mr. Cuban.
I did not know that. I just thought he was like in the tech space, which obviously it would be, but like, yeah,
right.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. All right, we are officially in the deadest sports week of the year. Yep, there you go, Coach Vic. He sold it to Yahoo. I remember that Yahoo was involved, but I couldn't remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he sold it to Yahoo for cash and stock options, and that's obviously worked out pretty well.
Now he's just a shock.
Yeah, that's right. So we're officially in the deadest sports week of the year. Baseball's All-Star break, and the Home Run Derby is tonight. Do you buy or sell the Derby as the best sporting event that is not an actual game?
So I was going to go the route of like the celebrity softball or like the celebrity basketball, but those are games. So I can't go there. Those are games. The NBA skills challenge is boring. The NHL
the
skills
slam dunk
challenge
competition
boring.
is just stupid now.
Right.
Yes, none of it's nearly as fun as it used to be.
If it was the 80s and early 90s, I would have said the slam dunk competition would be right up there with the home run derby, but it's just not anymore. And so there's really nothing that even holds a candle to the home run derby. And the home run derby, I feel like they've almost tweaked it too much, but I like the brackets and, things like that. It just seems like there's a lot, like it takes hours. It takes too long.
That's the only problem is it is fun to watch, especially the opening round, like when they've still got all their energy and they're just jacking them left and right. You're right. I forgot how they changed the format last year, but it does. Yeah. It's like a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
By the time it's all said and
it's
done.
Longer than games. It's so long.
It is a little too much but I have it's a total buy for me because of what you said. The only, does the hot dog eating contest count? Would you count that?
I don't know. That's kind of a game. I don't know.
Yeah. It is better than any other exhibition that I can think of. Let's put it that way. It's infinitely more interesting than, like you said, any of the NBA skills competition. It is infinitely more interesting than what the Pro Bowl is doing now with the flag football games and their skill
Pro
competition.
Bowl is just cancel it. Just cancel the whole thing.
Yeah. A lot of people would say that it's more interesting than the actual All-Star game, which obviously comes tomorrow. So
I like the All-Star game still. I do. Just seeing different guys out there. I really like when they wear the different uniforms. And you see different guys out there. I like the All-Star game. I do.
I think I remember hearing that, how they've the last several years, they've had the National League wears one uniform, the American League wears another. I think they might be going back to players wearing their actual uniforms.
Have they been wearing the National and American League uniforms?
Yeah, I know they wear some really bad ones last year. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm sure I blocked it out of my mind. I know they always wear them on home run derby night, but I thought they went back to regular uniforms on the actual game.
No.
Okay. There you go.
I'm going to bring this up for you to
jog my memory.
To jog your memory a little bit if I can blow this up. Yeah. So let's see.
And they're going to be in Atlanta, so that's a National League park, which means the Cubbies are going to be wearing their pinstripes, which is a good thing.
Jeez.
It's a very good thing.
So here's what they wore last year. Do you remember those?
Oof. Well, that was in LA? Or no? Well, that was in Texas. Because there's a Texas logo.
Yeah. Because remember that there was also a horrendous national anthem rendition. The woman, she was some country singer and it was really off key and apparently
I do
was
remember that.
Intoxicated and all that kind of stuff. So
I do remember that.
Yeah, these were the uniforms last year.
What are they this year?
Yeah, Anthony says they're going back to the actual uniforms. That's what I thought I heard.
They should. I'm cool with them wearing the alternates. On Monday. That makes sense.
Right.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. So I think they're going back to like regular uniforms and then just like a standard hat or something like that. I think. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, they've had some pretty bad uniform options for the All-Star game the last few years. So I'm glad that they're doing that. Now, there is some All-Star controversy going on because a lot of people are upset that Brewers rookie pitcher Jacob Misiorowski has been added to the National League roster. People, including a lot of Philadelphia Phillies, are mad that he's on the team despite having made just 5 starts as a rookie this season. Are you in or out on Misiorowski making the All-Star game with that little experience, Vince?
I'm in. It doesn't bother me. I don't like if he's dominating those 5 starts or those 5 games that he's been in, then so be it. I assume he's a starter, correct?
Yeah, I mean he started. 5 starts. He started 5 games.
Okay, so he's a starter.
He's
so it's not like
4-1
he
with
came
a 2.83 ERA. You know,
Okay.
more strikeouts than innings pitched. Fastball that averages a little under 100 miles an hour. He's 6'7", you know, so it's like, yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like that really doesn't bother me. Now, why are Philly fans upset? Did somebody get left off the roster that they wanted?
Like the Phillies themselves, like Phillies players are mad because they've got a couple, you know, like relievers who they think deserve to be on or more deserving to be on there and all that kind of stuff. So like Nick Castellanos was one of the guys who was sounding off, but he's like one of those guys who seems to sound off about everything.
I was just going to say that same thing.
Yeah.
Philly they have a relief pitcher on there, Zach Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your reliever. You don't have to have multiple relievers. Milwaukee has 2 starting pitchers on the roster and a reliever. So they've got 3 pitchers on the staff. And it looks like 2 of them were additions later, if I'm reading this correctly, named as a replacement. So 2 out of the 3 were named as a replacement.
This guy's named as a replacement anyway, and he's actually replacing Matthew Boyd from the Cubs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he said he's not going to pitch, which makes sense.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that.
This is an exhibition game. And
right.
Even, especially since they changed the rule a few years back, which I'm glad that they did, that for home field advantage in the World Series, because I thought that was one of the dumbest things that they did. Mm-hmm. This is an exhibition game. Right. So, I realize some of these guys have bonuses on the line and all that kind of stuff. Major League Baseball needs to have its best young guys out there in this game, if possible, if they're deserving enough. And this guy is deserving enough. And like Mark says, same as Paul Skeens last year. He didn't have that much actual experience, but he was far and away one of the best pitchers in the game last year. Why wouldn't you have him in the All-Star game? So I've got no problem with it. It's an exhibition game. It's like you tune in, you see your guys, you have fun. No reason to leave him off the roster just because he, might not have that much experience.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Have you seen any of the Netflix quarterback docuseries, the newest
one? Watched the whole thing.
Oh, have you? So you know what I'm about to talk about.
I watched the entire thing, and I watched it when I was on the plane and in my hotel room, at night, we're trying to wind down, you know what I mean? Because the kids were arguing about what to watch on TV. I was like, I watch what I want to watch. And they calmed down and went to bed. So it was great. I watched the whole thing.
Okay. So they're following Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
This was they followed them last season.
Right.
And now they're airing.
I wish they would come out with it a little bit earlier, but they always wait until the beginning of the season. And frankly, I don't remember what happens. Maybe that's why it's good, because I don't remember what happens week to week because it was last year. But anyway.
Exactly. So Cousins reveals, I think it was episode 3. That's how many I've seen so far. I've seen 3.
Okay.
The first 3 episodes. He gets his haircut at Great Clips.
Love that.
Pulls out the Great Clips app and, he can always get in.
And he explained why he does it.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
You see how long the wait time is on the app. And if it's less than 15 minutes, he gets himself on the wait list. He drives there and then he walks in and he's ready to get his hair.
And he shows them a picture of himself and says, I want this.
Right. Took a screenshot from the Falcons website. It's like,
I love it.
This is what I want.
This is great.
And I don't know if you heard this, But Great Clips saw, like everybody else, Great Clips found out about it because like I'm watching it and I'm like, is
this product placement?
Great Clips? Like,
I know.
yeah, is this like a product placement thing? What exactly is going on? He was not being paid for any of his Great Clips stuff, but Great Clips saw it and they gave him what they call a Hall of Fade card. So now he gets haircuts free for the rest of his life at Great Clips for all that free advertising. My question, Vince, do you buy or sell a professional athlete going to Great Clips or any other chain haircutting outlet?
I think it's awesome. He explained why he does it, and I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. He's like, I'm all over the country, and there's Great Clips all over the country. He's like, I can go in. I know I'm going to get the same cut every time. He goes, I show him the picture, and it's inexpensive. Like, there's people that pay for a men's haircut like $100. It's ridiculous. I don't care if you're making millions.
That's a bit much. But, like, when I was still, like, going to get my haircut, you go to a barber because, like, a barber, no offense, to any of the females out there. Like, I've tried some of these places. I don't know if I tried Great Clips, but there's like the Sports Clips and these other chain.
Yeah, those are too expensive.
Places.
I don't go there.
Well, they're like, I feel like I want to, like you're a dude. You need to go sit where a man can cut your hair in a barber shop properly. That's where you need to glow. That's where you need to go. Corey says Great Clips is great. I don't think I've ever been there. Like, how much is a Great Clips cut?
$20.
20?
Mm-hmm.
So
and there's coupons.
It's not unreasonable. I agree.
Every time.
I agree with like what you're saying, like celebrity barbers and stuff. And I know that people are in love with a celebrity barber here in town, so I'm not trying to take anything away from him.
Well, look, those kids aren't paying for that either. Those kids aren't paying for their haircut. All right. If you want to bring in a celebrity barber to cut my hair for free, let's go. But I use Great Clips, Sean Stiers. That's where I go every single time. I go to Great Clips, and I love the check-in app. I love it. You just check in, tells you how much time you got. You go off and do your own thing. You show up, ba-ba-boom, bada-bing. You're not waiting around.
See, this is the thing that Coach Vic, I don't trust those kind of places with my hair. I think you need a barber shop. You go to the same barber time after time for your satisfaction.
I get the same haircut every time.
Apparently
it's really hard to screw up. It's hard to screw up what I get done.
Do you take a screenshot of yourself and show them?
But they have I forget what they call it. They got some sort of name for it. They type in what you get done and it's in their system and it comes up automatically. And so they're like, okay, do you want to do blah, 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 that you did last time? I'm like, yes, I do. And
my wife actually tried that with my daughter a couple of times because she has curly hair and it's unique and like the way it has to be cut. And all those notes were in there. And she went in one time, like it was actually the last time she did it a few months. She hasn't been back since. Young, relatively new, I believe, person who basically stood there for like 10 minutes, kind of like pecking at the hair and like not knowing, what to do in spite of the notes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, I get that. My hair's easy. Now, I will say I went to Great Clips and I had a gal that I've never had before. And she was pretty new and it did not go well. And
that's what I worry about. That's what I worry about at those kind of places.
I end up coming back the next day and they fixed it right up. Perfect. No charge.
Oh, that's nice.
I was happy. You know what I mean? So
you got like a Jerry Seinfeld.
It was awful.
But he went to, what was it, Giuseppeo or whatever his name was?
I think the kids call it a low taper fade. Like they told it like it was way too bushy in the back. Like it was. So I went back and the lady who redid it, she's like, yeah, she's new. And I was like, yeah, I could tell. Sweet girl, no doubt about it. But like they fixed me up. So I was good to go.
See, Mark says when he was at Notre Dame, they had an old school barber on campus known as ROTC Joe. And I see that, Mark, like me, doesn't have to worry much about who's cutting your hair these days. So anymore. I used to actually have, more hair where I did have to worry about that. And I forgot to slip this in before. Joseph was asking if we happened to watch Brian Kelly at SEC Media Days. He said the guy is just annoying, didn't say anything inflammatory. Hard to fathom he was at Notre Dame.
I may have to watch it.
I actually forgot to watch today. I'll have to see if I can go find the video.
I bet you it's on YouTube. You probably shouldn't have a problem finding that. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Gotta check that out.
All right, before we wrap up, we will circle back to the big announcement that we made at the start of the show for anyone who came in late, maybe didn't get the big announcement. But the big news that we've been teasing for so long is that beginning 1 week from today, Monday, July 21st, this show, IB Nation Sports Talk, with me, Vince, and Jesse, and Brian also contributing once a week. This show is still going to be on the YouTube channel here. It is still going to be on the Irish Breakdown podcast platform, but we are also going to be broadcasting this show live on WSBT Radio in South Bend. We will, again, we'll have the YouTube feed, but you can hear us on 960 AM in South Bend and 106.1 FM in Southern Michigan. So IB Nation Sports Talk, as of next week, is going to become IB Nation Sports Beat, and on the air, where it's known as Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat. So that is the big announcement. We're taking the show to the radio as of 1 week from today. We're all very excited about it.
100%. Very excited about it. Yeah, baby. Very excited about it. Going back to the roots. Going to be doing some radio now. Very excited about it. Try to grow that local audience up a little bit more. And I think we're going to reach a lot of different people that we don't currently reach, which is fun. So, very excited about it.
Bryan Driskell is going to come on once a week and do a recruiting segment with me, just like we used to do back when I was doing the radio show back in the day. And appreciate everyone with the nice words, and looking forward to it. 1 week from today, we're almost there. It's going to happen.
It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait.
Yep. So starting next week, you'll see me back in the old radio studio.
That's right.
Again, like nothing is going to change for you from a YouTube perspective. You'll still be able to watch the show live on YouTube, and that was part of the draw from the radio station, was having the opportunity to do that. Michael says T-shirts.
No, might have to think about that.
We have to get that cooking. That's not bad. It's not a bad idea.
Thanks, Don. Should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I definitely want to get into the studio a couple times for sure. But we'll see how schedules lie and all that kind of stuff. Because of course we're coming up to fall.
I know.
It's just a crazy busy time anyway. So
by the time that happens, you're not going to be wanting to get into this.
I know, right? So. Seriously, because the studio's not close to the house.
That's true.
The new I say new location. It's been there for like 4 years now. But the location prior was so much closer. Much closer. But hey, c'est la vie. What can you do?
Yep. All right, well, that's going to do it. We'll wrap it up with that. We'll be back tomorrow. And again, we've got a Notre Dame women's basketball guest coming up on tomorrow's show. So looking forward to that. We will talk to you then. Hit that like button before you leave. Oh, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, should I do this? I think I'll do this. So I'm going to put this in the chat. This is the link to the WSBT, the new YouTube channel.
Got to get over there.
And this comes with the blessing of Brian. If you would, we would really appreciate it if you help us build WSBT's, the radio's new YouTube channel. If you would subscribe over there, because one difference, probably the only difference, is like right now, after this show is done live, we post the rapid fire video on our YouTube channel. Starting next week, all the rapid fire YouTube videos from this show are going to be on the WSBT radio station's YouTube channel. And so we're trying to grow that. Coach Vic, much appreciated. So, so if you would help us out, subscribe to that channel, and there'll be, like I said, we'll put some of this content. And there'll actually be some unique content once the football season starts as well that we'll put up. There'll be like some Notre Dame football player interviews that they do on Saturdays and stuff like that on one of the other shows. So much appreciated if you would give that a follow. Again, I put it up there, the WSBT Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel. There are some imitators, so make sure that you follow this link. There are some some
Yes,
other
there are.
channels up there, and we're trying to weed some of those out and get rid of them. So we need you
trying
to
to look
follow
for
that
it.
link.
And I can't find it. You're going to have to text me the link so I can actually get to it. Because ever I put it in, I think I'm finding the imitator.
Yeah. There's more than one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, hit the like button before you leave, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on IB Nation Sports Talk.